Who can be called a great man? Who is a great man? Let us try to find an answer in this session. If we consider only the military heroes such as Alexander, Caesar, etc., the question of who can be called a great man is not difficult to answer. The military men make epochs and effect vast transitions. They dazzle their contemporaries by the resounding victories. They become great without waiting to be called great. As the lion is among the deer, so they are among the men. But it is equally true that their permanent effect on the history of mankind is very small. Their conquests shrink. And even so great a general as Napoleon, after all his conquest, left France much smaller than he found it. When viewed from a distance, the military men's achievements seem only to be periodical. They appear to be only small incidents in the world's movement. They leave no permanent mark on the character of the society in which they live. The details of their career and their morals may be interesting, but they do not affect the society. If it is not the military man, then who can be called a great man? The answer becomes much more difficult when the question is asked about a person who is not a military general. It is because to answer who is a great man, it becomes a question of taste, and different people have different taste. We will be considering 3 different tests in answering the question who can be called a great man. The first test was given by Carlyle. He says that sincerity, a deep, great, genuine sincerity, is the first characteristic of all men who in any way can be called as heroic. Carlyle was of course particular in defining his test of sincerity in precise terms. The great man's sincerity is of the kind he cannot speak of. It is of the kind he is not conscious of. He is conscious rather of insincerity. The great man doesn't boast himself sincere. He doesn't ask himself the question if he is sincere or not. His sincerity doesn't depend on himself. He cannot help himself about being sincere. He unconsciously remains sincere. This is the definition of sincerity given by Carlyle about great men. The second test for greatness was given by Lord Rosebery. He considers greatness as the combination of moral qualities and those of intellect. Then there is this third test suggested by the philosophers. To summarize the summary of their view, a great man is launched into the world as a great natural or supernatural force. He remains as a scourge and a scavenger to cleanse the society. He leads the society on the right path. So, which of these is the true test for greatness? We can say that all these tests are partial and none is complete. Sincerity must be the test of a great man. However, no one can accept that sincerity is the primary or the sole test for greatness. For definitely sincerity is not enough. A great man must have sincerity, for it is the sum of all moral qualities without which no man can be called great. But there must be something more than mere sincerity in a man to make him great. A man may be sincere and yet he may be a fool, and fool is the very antithesis of a great man. A man is great because he finds a way to save his society. Then, what is needed apart from sincerity becomes then his question. A man is great because he finds a way to save this society in its hours of crisis. He can do so only with the help of intellect. Intellect is the light. Nothing else can be of any avail. It is quite obvious that without the combination of sincerity and intellect, no man can be called great. Is sincerity and intellect enough for a man to be called a great man? At this stage, we must make a distinction between an eminent individual and a great man. A great man is something very different from an eminent individual. Sincerity and intellect are enough to mark out an individual as being eminent as compared to his fellows, but they are not enough to raise him to the dignity of a great man. A great man must have something more than what a mere eminent individual has. Here comes the importance of the philosopher's definition of a great man. So, a great man must be motivated by the dynamics of a social purpose and must act as the scourge and scavenger of the society. These are the elements which distinguish an eminent individual from a great man. So, his intentions to lead the right path makes him a great man. Therefore, we can conclude that sincerity and intellect are just not enough to make a man a great man. Apart from sincerity and intellect, what a man needs to become a great man is urge to make this society a good place to live, is urge to lead on this society on the right path, is urge to become a scourge and scavenger of this society. Therefore, to call any man a great man, he must fulfill this condition. This session is based on Dr. Ambedkar's writing, which is titled Ranade, Gandhi and Jinnah. Thank you.